Today, we're cracking open one of the most legendary books on success ever written, Napoleon Hill's 1937 classic, Think and Grow Rich. We're going to really get into its core philosophy by going straight to the source. And, this isn't just some self-help book from a bygone era. It's actually the result of more than 20 years of serious research. The story goes that the great industrialist Andrew Carnegie personally gave Hill the mission to study over 500 of the most successful people of that time. We're talking giants like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison to figure out what secrets they all had in common. So before Hill even gets into his success formula, he poses a really critical question. What's the number one reason people fail? Just think about that for a second, because the answer is perfectly laid out in a story from the very first chapter of the book. Hill kicks things off with this incredible story from the gold rush, all about a man named R.U. Darby and his uncle. They got completely swept up in gold fever and packed up everything to head west, totally convinced they were going to strike it rich. And you know what? After weeks of just back-breaking labor with a pick and shovel, they hit it, a vein of shimmering gold ore. They were absolutely sure they'd stumbled upon one of the richest mines in all of Colorado. So they covered up their discovery, rushed back home to get money for machinery, and came back ready to cash in. So the first haul of ore proved it. This was the real deal. They were about to pay off all their debts and become fabulously wealthy. And then something went wrong. The vein of gold, it just vanished. They kept drilling, desperately trying to find it again, but there was nothing. Just dirt. Totally crushed, they made a decision that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. They gave up. They just quit. They sold all their expensive machinery to a local junkman for pennies on the dollar and took that long, sad train ride home. But here's the twist. The junkman was a lot smarter than they gave him credit for. See, he wasn't a miner, but he knew enough to do the one thing the Darbys didn't think to do. He brought in an expert. He hired a mining engineer to take a look at the mine. And what that engineer found was just mind-blowing. Turns out, the Darbys didn't know anything about fault lines in the earth. The engineer's calculations showed the vein hadn't disappeared at all. It was still there, just 3 feet from where they had stopped drilling. And of course, the junkman went on to pull millions of dollars out of that very same mine. And that is Hill's big answer to the question from the beginning. He writes that one of the most common causes of failure is simply the habit of quitting when you're hit with what feels like defeat, but it's almost always just temporary defeat. The Darbys were literally standing 3 feet from a fortune, but they walked away because they mistook a setback for a dead end. This whole story about persistence is really the perfect setup for the book's main secret, the philosophy that Napoleon Hill learned directly from Andrew Carnegie himself. So Carnegie's secret, the idea that the entire book is built on, is this: thoughts are things. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, Hill says that an intangible thoughts, an idea, when you mix it with a definite purpose and a whole lot of persistence, can literally be transformed into its physical, real-world equivalent. We're talking wealth, a career, whatever your goal is. Okay, so thoughts are things sounds cool, but how does it work in real life? Well, to prove his point, Hill tells the amazing story of Edwin C. Barnes, a guy who literally thought his way into a partnership with the one and only Thomas Edison. Barnes had one single, all-consuming obsession. He was going to become the business associate of Thomas Edison. And the words here are really important. He didn't just want a job for Edison. He was determined to go into business with him. That was his definite, non-negotiable purpose. And this really gets at the huge difference between just kind of wishing for something and what Hill calls a burning desire. A wish is passive, right? It's just hoping things work out. But a burning desire? That's active. It's an obsession. It's a goal so clear and so powerful that you're willing to bet your entire future on it. Barnes was the perfect example of this. I mean, he showed up at Edison's lab completely broke, looking like a tramp. But he walked right up to Edison and said he was there to be his business partner. In his own mind, he had burned every bridge. There was no going back, no plan B. He had to succeed, or as Hill puts it, perish. Now, he didn't get the partnership that day, not even close. He took the only job available, a really low-paying menial position. And for 5 years, to anyone on the outside, it looked like he was just stuck. But here's the key. In his own mind, his belief never, ever wavered. He already saw himself as Edison's partner, just waiting for the right moment.
So how can you and I develop that kind of burning desire and actually turn it into real results? Well, Hill doesn't just leave us with philosophy, he gives us a very practical 6-step method for turning that desire into cold, hard cash.
Let's just walk through these because the details matter. Notice how specific every step is. First, fix the exact amount of money you want. No vague stuff like a lot of money. Second, decide exactly what you're going to give in return because there's no free lunch. Third, set a definite date. Fourth, create a definite plan, and this is huge, start right away. Fifth, write it all down. And finally, step 6, read that statement out loud twice a day, every single day. Now, this 6th step is everything. It's not enough to just mumble the words. Hill is really clear on this. As you read your statement, you have to actually see, feel, and believe that you already have the money. The whole point is to program your subconscious mind to accept this as reality right now. And that's the fuel that a burning desire runs on. So when you put all of these pieces together, the persistence, the desire, the definite plan, it all leads to the book's ultimate, empowering conclusion about our ability to shape our own lives. Hill wraps it all up with his famous line from a poem. And the reason he says we are the masters of our fate is because we have the power to control the one thing that truly belongs to us, our thoughts. And since our dominant thoughts are like magnets, pulling in the circumstances that match them, controlling your thoughts means ultimately controlling your destiny. In the end, this entire philosophy, all these stories, they all start from one powerful place. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. What is your burning desire? What definite purpose are you willing to stake your entire future on? Because according to Napoleon Hill, that's where all great achievement really begins.